People with psychopathic friends. Why are you friends with them? My college roommate Zach is a diagnosed psychopath and he's the reason I'm still alive. We met sophomore year when the housing office randomly paired us. First night, I walked in on him organizing his desk. Color-coded folders, labeled containers, everything in perfect rows. He didn't even look up, just said, "I function better with order." 3 weeks in, I noticed something off. We'd be watching TV and during scenes where people were crying or dying, he'd glance at me to copy my reactions. Once, when our neighbor's dog got hit by a car, everyone rushed to help while Zach just stood there, studying us like we were specimens in a lab. Late one night, I found him making flashcards with facial expressions. Happy, sad, concerned, he mumbled, practicing each one in the mirror. When he noticed me, he didn't even get embarrassed. "I can't feel these naturally, so I need to learn them," he explained. "My therapist says it'll help me function better." That's when he told me. He'd been diagnosed at 16 after his parents noticed he never cried, never got scared, never seemed to care when others were upset. "My brain's wired differently," he shrugged. "I don't experience emotions like you do." But what freaked me out wasn't his condition. It was how methodically he'd built a system to compensate. He had actual spreadsheets tracking people's preferences, favorite snacks, movie genres, topics that made them uncomfortable. He'd set timers to check in with friends going through breakups. Not because he cared, but because that's what his research said good friends do. The night that changed everything was when my depression hit rock bottom. I'd been spiraling for weeks, failing classes, barely eating ramen once a day, sleeping 14 hours. I texted my family that I loved them and swallowed half a bottle of sleeping pills. 5 minutes later, Zach kicked in the bathroom door. I hadn't told him anything. He just noticed I'd been following the same behavioral patterns as his cousin who'd attempted suicide years before. He'd been monitoring me for weeks. While I was barely conscious, he calmly called 911, induced vomiting, and kept me awake until the ambulance arrived. The whole time, his voice never wavered. "Your death would be inconvenient," he said matter-of-factly. "I've invested 347 hours in our friendship. Starting over with someone new would be inefficient." In the hospital, the nurse asked if he was scared when he found me. Zach looked confused. "Fear wouldn't have helped him," he answered. Action was the logical response. During recovery, I asked why he bothered with friendships when he couldn't feel connection. He stared at his Coca-Cola can for a long time. "I may not feel connections, but I observe their valuations." He can't feel empathy, but he's decided to act like he does. And isn't that choice more meaningful than automatic emotions? Last week, I asked what he gets from our friendship. He thought for a moment, then said, "Observing your emotional responses helps me navigate human interactions more effectively. Also, your cooking is adequate." Coming from Zach, that's practically a love letter. And honestly, I'd rather have a friend who can't feel emotions but shows up every time than friends who feel everything but do nothing. Would you rather have someone who feels your pain or someone who actually stops it?